Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special edition of Insider Gaming Weekly for Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025. We weren't going to do this, and then we realized we probably should. It's Mike Strauss, senior editor here at Insider Gaming, one of the senior editors, alongside our senior producer, A to the P, Albert Perkins. Albert, what are we talking about today? I think we're just here to hang out, right?
Some kind of console or some kind of crazy console announcement from Nintendo. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Oh, that's right. Nintendo Switch 2. That was the lamest thing I could have done. Nintendo Switch 2 was fully revealed in all its glorious and somewhat frustrating detail on Wednesday. Before we get into that, as always, make sure you are subscribed if you are watching on YouTube. If you are watching us live on Twitter, you can follow us. You're obviously already following us, but you can follow us. Join the chat there. Join the chat on YouTube. If you'd like to support Insider Gaming and show support for these live streams that we are testing and could be doing more of, including possibly bringing Insider Gaming Weekly live, you can let us know and support us by leaving a super chat to guarantee any questions get read on the air. You can do that. Anything to help. Also, get the latest news for all the gaming news you need to know about at insider-gaming.com. Link is scrolling at the bottom.
Yes,
so you
sir.
always know there's always that hyphen and always things to do. But AP, we're not doing a long one because we have Insider Gaming Weekly dropping Friday. We recorded tomorrow and we'll likely have even more there. And we're going to make Grant's life miserable.
I can't wait for that. I'm excited.
Make it miserable. But there's a lot that we couldn't just keep to ourselves for that amount of time. Before diving fully into it, what was your high-level view and thought on everything? If you can sum it up, your high-level thoughts on what you heard today from Nintendo.
Yeah, overall for me, I thought it was great. This was obviously highly anticipated. A lot of folks were really looking forward to this announcement, to this event, and by and large, I feel like it mostly delivered, the one little caveat that I thought that was kind of a negative there was the whole pricing and pre-ordering information, how they didn't exactly give that information out during the event itself. You had to kind of fish for it in the actual press release. I thought that was kind of odd. It's a little unorthodox for companies that do that. I thought that was kind of strange. Most of the time, I mean, you look at Xbox, Microsoft, you look at PlayStation. Anytime that there's some kind of new console announcement, they're letting us know when you can pre-order it, how much it's going to cost. I know Nintendo kind of does their own thing. They're on their own little island, so to speak. But I thought that was kind of odd, man. It kind of stuck out to me. And then, of course, the big headline. It seems like these games are going to be $80, and that is industry changing. Industry changing, man.
That, I think, was the tipping point that made me say and message and say, hey, we should do something live. Yeah. We should do something. Let's collect our thoughts, make sure all the news is out there, and go literally completely live or go live and talk about this. And I want to get the opinion of everybody watching. Again, if you're watching on Twitter or YouTube, you can enter the chat, throw them in the chat. We'll throw some comments on air and address any questions you may have. But yeah, the pricing, before we get into that, because there's a lot I want to get to, I want to talk about what made me super happy to see. It was confirmation of a lot of the features. Mm-hmm. The backwards compatibility we already knew, but the dock, it being 4K, because we had run a report at Insider Gaming earlier this week. Some developers at GDC had told Insider Gaming that their dev kits didn't have 4K output, which it was cleared in that article. Not all dev kits have this full feature set. Some include way more memory than the console's actually going to have, some limit thing. It just all depends on what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't surprising to hear, but it was nice to see that, hey, that was just what they had gotten and not the final spec. So that was nice to see. 4K, 120 frames per second, a bigger screen, like some of these niceties. And then the game announcements. We knew the Mario Kart game was coming. Mario Kart World I got to play it. It's a Mario Kart game, but we'll talk if I will play it or not. But to get an idea of if it's better than Mario Kart Deluxe, the new 3D Donkey Kong game is right up my alley. Been craving that forever.
Yeah. Oh
Donkey
yeah.
Kong 64, Jesus, amazing game, except for the collection thing. The only thing I hated about that was having to switch between different characters. But the From Software game, the Dusk Bloods Born.
Huge, man.
That's what I'm going to call it, the Dusk Bloods Born, because man, Bloodborne fans and Sony fans are losing it right now. Like the reactions on social media have been,
it's a console exclusive, man.
Yeah,
that's huge for Nintendo. That's a huge get. I was like, yo, okay, Nintendo.
That shows the trust they have. All these third-party games. You have Madden coming back to Nintendo, NBA 2K, FIFA, WWE 2K. You have Borderlands 4 coming to Nintendo Switch.
Yes.
You have all of these games, and we'll have the full rundown of every game announced. If you missed it, everything announces at insidergaming.com. We are working on getting the full rundown of every game that was announced. Every single one will be at insidergaming.com. If you missed anything, all the story, all the coverage. I see the comments, by the way, of everybody chiming in about the pricing, and we'll get to that when we get to the specific pricing of the games. But they killed it. Like, they hit a home run. Everybody knew, like, all right, you want to prove you're really this next gen Nintendo. Let's see the games. And people were hoping for a new 3D Mario. I knew that wasn't coming. Like, we were talking in the Discord. I was talking to Andy. Like, he was hoping for it, and I told him, don't expect it. Like, don't. It's not. It's just not going to happen. From the start, we knew it wasn't. We get a new Kirby game, Kirby Air Riders.
I don't remember that on GameCube. Apparently, that was on GameCube, I guess.
No one does.
Yeah, I was like, what?
I mean, there's the dedicated Kirby fans, but I didn't really care for a Kirby racing game. I would like another standalone Kirby game.
Yeah. Same.
But granted, the Donkey Kong was the star of the show. Seeing it go from 2D to 3D, like all that, just everything about that looks so good.
Fantastic. Yes.
But the amount of games, like, we know we're getting Switch upgrades, and there's another thing, like games like Pokemon Legends ZA and Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, and Mario Jamboree will all get these Switch 2 upgrades, which good, but now we get into the fun. Oh, real quick, by the way, pre-orders open in North America April 9th, in the UK April 8th. Just want to say
next Wednesday,
another Insider Gaming exclusive confirmed. Our Tom Henderson put up that story about the pre-order plans. It got a lot of flack because Best Buy Canada had put up something about April 2nd being the pre-order date and then took it down. We had received, Tom had received details from a U.S. retailer that said U.S. retail pre-orders would be April 9th, and people were ready to attack. Like, based on the social media, like, discourse of it, people were like, there's no way that's true. And people were ready to go. And there's just yet another reason why Insider Gaming is the fastest rising gaming news outlet in the world today. But pricing, the Switch 2, $449.99, so $450. If you want to get Mario Kart World with it at launch in the bundle, it'll be $500. We all saw the rumors of it being $400 to $450, so it didn't surprise me that it came in at that price. AP, were you surprised at all that the Switch 2, granted, all these features included, with 120 frames per second, 4K, longer battery life of 2 to 6.5 hours, depending on what you're playing. I expect Elden Ring. That's another game coming. Elden Ring will be more closer to that, 2 that 2 hour battery mark. But were you surprised to see the price based on all the features coming with this console?
I thought it was maybe right around what it should be. I thought maybe it could have been $100, maybe $150 cheaper, just because of the fact that the display, it's using an LCD, it's not using OLED. I suspect that we'll get an OLED version sometime down the road and within the next few years or so. But I was kind of expecting it to be priced at maybe $349.99, maybe $399.99. I was a little that 400 marker did kind of surprise me there. There's a lot of tech going into it. You have the bigger screen, as you mentioned. What is it? I think it's like 7.9 inches, something like that.
Yeah.
You have the tech going into the C button there with the Nintendo Switch Online. Although I feel like that's not really handling too much tech outside of that.
No, they're
And,
finally in the 21st century with that.
yeah, it's about time. And by the way, guys, if you're watching, of course, on X and YouTube, obviously apologize for my camera going in and out of focus. This camera has a terrible autofocus system, so it tends to happen from time to time. So I had to address that for sure. But anyways, as far as the pricing system goes, at the end of the day, I feel like it's not too bad. I thought maybe it was a little bit, maybe 100, 150 more than what it should have been, but at the end of the day, people are probably going to be all over this anyways.
Yeah, the Switch One, for those who don't remember, launched at $300. So we're looking at a $150 price increase after 8 years. The market being what it is, and this is not going to be me justifying it. You're going to get the exact opposite when it comes to justification of this, this price. Yeah. And people are going to say, well, that's just the nature of inflation. No. And we'll get to it. But yeah, like the HDR support is great. 120 frames per second in handheld mode is huge.
That's nice.
I wasn't surprised that. Yeah. I wasn't surprised that they stuck with LCD. Because now I'm like, imagine if they came out with the OLED, and it gives them something to release in 3 years' time, switch to OLED for $795 or whatever they decide to charge it there.
Right. I feel like that's what the price would have been today if they would have announced that.
Yeah, it would have been. We would have been looking at $550, I think $600 had they announced an OLED, which I don't know. I'm the price of the console doesn't bother me as much. It's what came out after. Because that's actually another thing. So they announced the release date of June 5th. One, really annoying, because my plan was pre-order it, get the console, because we had all heard June. Insider Gaming had reported, the documents June. Mm-hmm. We were all hoping, at least I was hoping, June, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. No, it's June 5th, the day I fly out to LA.
Oh.
I was hoping, so I guess I'll just play my Steam Deck. It is whatever. More games. Cheaper games.
True.
But I was really hoping maybe like June 4th I'd get that console and then I'd be able to play it on my flight to LA on the 5th. But it isn't happening. Pre-orders open April 9th, like we said, April 8th in the UK. It bothered me that in the presentation pre-order date wasn't announced, though a lot of people thought it might happen today. There was no way it was happening today. In my mind, like I just thought of like families, and we'll get to that too. They'll look at a lot of people working, they'll come home, they'll see what happened, and then they can get their plans in order on how they want to pre-order it.
That's a good
point. And they didn't release a price in the presentation for games or the console. And they did that guaranteed. One, the presentation. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent real quick. The presentation was choppy as all hell.
Bro.
Audio was behind.
So
at one point, it froze the video, and you're just talking about games, and it doesn't match up with the game being shown. You're just
there's Final Fantasy music playing, and it's a completely different game. I was like, what in the hell is going on here?
Way to go, Nintendo. You're really still up to date on those presentations. Maybe go back to live ones,
that.
Please.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, thanks. But they didn't release a price on there because, they wanted to focus on the good and then have all the negativity come out after. And that negativity includes game pricing.
Yes.
My God. Yes. Immediately after the show ended, Mario Kart World, their website went live and it said $79.99. There were posts on European outlets of $80 for digital, 90 or 80 euros for digital, 90 euros for physical.
Oh man.
I did reach out to Nintendo. They're notoriously bad at responding to anything, but I wanted to see if like the $90, like 90 euros for physical will translate to 90 US dollars for physical. My guess is they won't respond. They never do, unless it's like really, really major. Like, hey, we need to nip this in the bud. This isn't one of those things.
Yeah.
But my God, we had heard rumors of game price increase, especially with GTA 6. Will it be $100? Now it's hard for me to think it's not going to be.
Bro, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
If Mario Kart 8 is going to be $80,
yes.
My immediate thought, I immediately went from I'm so stoked for this console, $450 for it is pricey, but whatever, to I can take it or leave it.
Oh wow. Yeah, when it comes down to like the price tag with some of these games, obviously with the games coming out on the Switch too, you know, I thought, hey, Grand Theft Auto $100? No, that's not going to happen. Now after this, I'm like, okay, you know, that doesn't seem really that far off now. Like it's definitely a possibility that it might happen now. I'd never in my wildest dreams thought that, but now, you know, Take-Two's going to see this and they're going to be like, oh yeah, they're pricing their games at $80. Okay, let GTA 6 $100. You know, like they're gonna that's gonna justify it now. Like that's what I mean whenever I say that this is industry changing.
And the thing is with Nintendo is notorious for not lowering their game prices. It doesn't matter how long that game has been out, 10 years, 20 years, whatever. It's very rare, unless a game isn't selling well, for them to lower a price.
The MSRP just stays, man. It's crazy. It's ridiculous. It's more like it.
That's because they know it's like, well, where else are you gonna play it? I don't know. There's a certain, you know, I'm not even gonna. Nope, not gonna go on that. I'm not going down that line. I won't do it on the air. In private, maybe. On the air, I won't. But yeah, like Mario Kart 8, people are like, oh, I'll just get it when it goes on sale. It might go on sale for $70 later in the year. Yeah. It does seem Brandon did bring up, is every game going to cost 80 or is it case by case basis? It seems like it's going to be a case by case basis. I mean, we looked at Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild were $70, where most Nintendo Switch 1 games were $60. Donkey Kong Bonanza appears to just be a $70 game. No mention. It might just be a $70 flat. No mention if physical is going to be different. And we'll get into the physical game too, because they're finally going the DRM route that a lot of that PC games did and other console games have done.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's going to be a case by case basis. But with Nintendo, it seems like we're not going to get third party games like small indie third party games going for $80. You're still going to see the $20, $30 indie games that you're used to. But what this says to me is Nintendo is getting out in front of the rest of the industry doing the same thing. And my mind immediately goes to this hobby is no longer an affordable. Grant, it's been getting there for a while. And I don't want to see a single comment say, well, back in the 90s, adjusted for inflation, there were a bunch of don't care. You can pause with all that argument. I'm not going to listen to it. This is where I'll put my head in the sand and go, la, 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 I can't hear you. Because the idea that Nintendo is getting out in front of this just says to me, all right, Take-Two's about to do it. Because whatever sales Nintendo loses, right, from being $80 games or up to 90, whatever sales they lose are likely to be made up by that price increase from the people who are buying them.
Yes.
And it bothers me. It bothers me a lot.
Yeah. It's a big increase, man. I mean, that's $20. I mean, you think about it, it's like, whatever, $20. But if you're collecting these games, man, it's gonna add up really, really quick. And I don't like it either. And I think a lot of people are pissed about it online.
So, and I'm the type of person too, when it comes to games, it's not a lot of games that do this. it's not a lot of games that do this, or I justify with how long a game is. Certain games, what is my hourly cost of playing? If a game is 60, 70 hours and it costs me $70, cool. Getting like $1 an hour.
Yeah.
Sweet. If a game is 20 hours and you're going to charge me $80, like,
yeah.
but then it also makes it a chore. It makes it a massive chore to put that time into certain games. Like Mario Kart is a game you're definitely, if you're big into Mario Kart, you're going to put a lot of time in. A lot of people, however, Mario Kart's a game you play with friends. You don't sit there and grind Mario Kart, especially in a game Mario Kart World, where after 8 years or 10 years of Mario Kart 8, you had the 3 years on the Wii U and then the 8 years right now so 11 years, 8 years on the Switch. You have dozens of courses, dozens of drivers, all of this stuff
with the DLC.
Yeah. And now you're going back to square one for $80.
That's a lot to ask for. You making these people wait that long for a new Mario Kart game, and then on top of that, whenever it finally releases, you're gonna charge them $80 for it. Like, damn, dude. I don't know, man. I don't know. That doesn't sit very well with me at all.
Not a lot of it does. But Nintendo knows, like, there are people that will buy it.
Yep.
What and I saw this. Brandon, has there been an update if there'll be a price increase with Switch Online with them adding GameCube? You know what, on that note, they haven't said anything, and that goes with the upgrades too, with Switch games to Switch 2. We know Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild will be free if you are a Nintendo Switch Online member with expansion, I believe it is.
Yes. That's accurate. Yeah. You got it right.
Also, both Zelda games will have achievements now, which is freaking cool with the new app. So they're finally bringing, Nintendo's getting into the 21st century with on-console chat. Welcome to okay, I no longer need a third-party app on my phone to chat with friends. Granted, if I'm playing Switch Online, I'm probably already in Discord with friends. I'm not chatting with randos.
Let alone just making telephone calls to your best friend in order to play these games online to talk to them as you're playing.
Thanks. Yeah. Now, will the servers actually be good? We'll see. If you're gonna charge $80 for damn Mario Kart, if I go in and I experience any crappy connection server-wise with gigabit internet that I have at home, you're done. Granted, you're not done. You're still gonna make boatloads. Like, it's just me whining about it. I'm not. It's not like I have this power to say, "Hey, all 4,000 of you watching right now, don't buy it," and you're all gonna listen. It's not like we have. If I have that power, please donate me. I don't know, if all 4,000 of you give me an AP $5 each.
Facts.
And then it just magically appears, right? No. But yeah, certain games, you got the selected upgrade packs. You got Mario Jamboree. You'll have, what is it? Metroid Prime 4 Beyond will have an upgrade to Switch 2 that'll include a 4K version, 1080p, like
plus motion.
Yeah,
you use the Joy-Con 2s through
the mouse
aim and everything. Yeah, the mouse
feature.
great.
Man, that's gonna be, to me, a really like niche, never utilized, kind of like
for ops,
when the touchpad on the DualSense is launched, like it's gonna be this great thing for games. How many games utilize this? Same with PS3 with the gyro. How many games utilize that weren't racing?
Honestly, off the top of my head, the most
did SOCOM use it? Maybe
like Astrobot. Outside of that, I'm not really utilizing it on the DualSense.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Yeah. So it just feels like something that's there and not really gonna be touched on.
Right.
The internal storage with the Switch, I know we're bouncing around, but there's a lot that comes into the head. 256 gigs, awesome, better than especially because now they're forcing you to get a new type of micro SD that is more expensive than the traditional micro SD cards that you have in your original Switch. So there's another thing. Way to go, Nintendo.
Yeah, I like the storage size. That's good. What was it? Was it
256
256? Yeah, okay. I
compared
mean,
to 32.
that's a substantial increase. Now, how big are these game file sizes going to
I
be?
mean, if
That's the
Borderlands is
question.
going to be on it, we know we're looking at 100 gigs right there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Facts.
But
Yep.
back to Brandon's thing before we move on.
Yeah.
There has not been an update on if Switch price increase will switch on, or a price increase for Switch Online. I bet there will be. It's $50 a year for Switch Online plus expansion pack. I bet that goes up to 70. I bet that goes up to 70. I bet these upgrade costs for various games, I think they'll range in the upgrades. But you're looking, instead of 10, I feel like if they were all going to be $10, they would have announced that.
Mhm.
I think you could be looking at $20 to upgrade certain games to the Switch 2 version if you have the base Switch. Like Jamboree, $20 to get the Switch 2 version or whatever. And if you're playing Jamboree a lot, it might be worth it. There was no mention of the rumored feature that would allow you to connect the Switch 2 or the original Switch to the Switch 2 and use it as a secondary screen or controller. There was confirmation that you can have one copy of a game and play it with other Switch 2, play multiplayer with other Switch 2 owners. So that I think even some regular Switch games, that was confirmed. So that's nice. So then, I don't have to buy, 3 copies of Mario Kart. Granted, who would do that? But there are people out there. I want to find the good in what happened, because there was a lot.
I just now thought about that.
Standpoint.
Buying 3 copies of Mario Kart, that's $240.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Oh my God, man.
It's been $240. Guys, thank you for tuning in.
Hell.
If you are just tuning in, don't worry. This isn't the full episode of Insider Gaming Weekly. That will still be recorded tomorrow. It will still go live Friday by noon Eastern on all streaming platforms and YouTube. Insider Gaming, make sure you're subscribed. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pocket Casts, iHeartRadio, everywhere. If you are tuning in, share us, retweet us, like us. It helps us grow as we move more into video, on top of breaking records at Insider Gaming. It has been one hell of a month, and it's continuing.
Man.
Like it's been, so we have, for us, it's been good. As fans, it's been, I don't know. I from a media standpoint, for you and I and Tom and, not Grant, because he's not Nintendo.
Shame on you, Grant.
We love you. And I'm only doing this because I have a feeling he'll just come back at me tomorrow when we record the show. So I'm going to get it all out now and let him just have his revenge and dish it back at me tomorrow. But I don't know. I just can't. I saw so many people justifying this. And I want to make it clear, guys, you don't have to defend a big corporation for raising prices the way they are, when it's already hard enough to afford random things. Now we're already getting to the point where it's like, all right, should I buy eggs this week, or should I, save that money and buy the game I've been looking forward to?
Right.
Chances are I'm gonna buy my eggs. I'm gonna buy my eggs. But you don't have to defend them. You do not have to defend them. They know things are tough, but Nintendo is sitting there going, you're going to buy us anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Bet. And they're probably right. A lot of people will. I don't know if I'm one of them. At this present moment, I don't know if I'm a Switch 2 launch day guy, unless FOMO, and that's what they're banking on, which gets me a lot.
Yes.
Unless FOMO kicks in.
Yeah, they're definitely banking on FOMO. I think a lot of folks are probably thinking, I'm not in on this. And then a lot of their friends are probably going to buy in on it. And like you're saying, exactly, the fear of missing out. Oh, man, I just had to go ahead and get locked in. I guarantee you that this console is going to sell out everywhere at major retailers whenever it goes on sale next week. There's no doubt about that. It'll, as soon as links get tweeted out, man, it's going to be gone within minutes.
Like 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And I like and I don't like what Nintendo's doing. on their store to prevent scalping. They want to get it into the hands of actual Switch players, right? So they're doing it where you have to be a Switch Online plus expansion pack subscriber and play a certain amount of time, and then priority will go to those based on playtime.
The criteria is very interesting there. Like they're looking at playtime. That's insane, right?
I don't like that you have to be a Switch Online plus expansion pack subscriber. There are a lot of people who buy these consoles. There are a lot of people. Zach likes the idea. There are a lot of people who buy these consoles for their kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest with you. If I got my kid his own, like we have Switch Online expansion pack because of me, but if I bought my son his own Switch, he wouldn't have online because there's no need. He's 7. Like there's no need. So limiting it to that, there are and in areas where you just can't get the internet quality, there's no point in having Switch Online. You're still going physical, and like it's a smaller area, but it's still prominent enough. I don't know, limiting it to people who are subscribed to Switch Online plus the expansion pack on top of that, that kind of rubs me the wrong way. But it's only right now through Nintendo's own pre-order system. Best Buy hasn't announced what they're going to do. GameStop, all they've announced is that you can get up to $175 for your Switch, your current gen Switch, if it's a Switch OLED. You can get up to $175. Regular V1, V2 Switches, I think, are $125, and the Switch Lite is $100. And other stores are, over the next few days, you'll start seeing what they're going to plan to combat scalpers, which is going to be a problem.
Yes.
Nintendo said they are going to have more stock for this than they did for the original Switch. But Insider Gaming reported, as part of Tom's report, many still don't expect to have enough.
No, there's no way they'll have enough, man. I'm even thinking back after the Switch was released. You remember back in 2020 how like popular the Switch got? Like during COVID, everyone like wanted a Switch. You couldn't find a Switch anywhere, and it had already been out. And it was like,
I mean, you couldn't find anything in 2020.
Yeah, that's true too. But I remember because I got my daughter one for her 16th birthday, and I was like, dude, nobody has a Switch. Like it's this freaking Switch. It's been out for how long now, you know? And finally ended up finding one, but it was just like very interesting. And it's just like, how's the Switch 2 going to be like? I don't know, man. It's going to sell.
I think it'll be better. It'll be better. Admittedly, I do think it'll still be better than what we had for the Xbox Series and PS5 launches. Granted, we were in the middle of a global pandemic when that hit, but we're also going. I don't want picked up my own audio there. Oops. I don't want this to be. I don't want to get into this type of conversation for obvious reasons. I don't think people are tuning in for that.
Mm-hmm.
But we also have to worry about what's going to happen with availability, at least in the United States, with what's going on in the political climate. How much is that going to impact availability? How much did that weigh into the cost of things? We don't know. They probably won't say. But I know in like Canada, I think in Canada it's a $600 console.
Oh my God.
Which it's nuts. Yet somehow I sit here in my mind and go, still not as bad as PS3's launch. Granted, they recovered fine. They ultimately ended up outselling. People still don't seem to think this or realize this. The PS3, remember, ended up globally outselling the Xbox 360. It's just how botched their launch was of trying to sell the PS3 at $600 that set them off on a rail
with barely any launch titles.
Yeah. I mean, that was a big reason I became an Xbox 360 owner. Granted, I didn't get my 360 at launch. I got it in 2006. So the Wii had just launched and the PS3 had just launched, but I still got the 360 because it had the games I wanted. The only thing PS3 had at that generation was free online. And then we all saw what happened when PS4 launched. But people, I mean, there's a lot of reasons. I mean, you can look at that's why PC is continuing to grow because of the fact you don't have to pay for an online membership to play online.
Right.
But back to the Switch 2, the games itself. It also came out with Nintendo that not all Switch 2 cartridges are the same. Nintendo Switch 2, some, not all, but some, we don't know. Just because the prices might be up to $90, it doesn't mean that there's going to be a game on that physical cartridge you decide to buy if you like to collect them. Nintendo announced that game key cards are going to be different from regular cards because they won't contain full game data. You have to put the card in your console, the cartridge, and then you'll download the game through the internet. Basically, it's its own physical version of DRM, and it is not unsurprising because that's what, we see with PS5 and Xbox. We saw for a while when you go buy a physical PC game, you didn't even get a disc. They just gave you the Steam code or whatever it was. Like, thanks. Why did I come here to buy this then? But now we're seeing Nintendo get on board with that. Surprised you at all?
A little bit. I'm trying to think. I wonder if it's the reasoning behind it. Is it for security reasons? Like why did they kind of okay. Well, in that case, it's like
it's all DRM to me is never for, no matter what they say. There were some that would say, oh, it's DRMs to prevent pirating. DRMs to keep our consumers safe. It's none of that. It's the equivalent. DRM is the equivalent of return to office mandates.
Oh, man.
Control
that is a bombshell analogy, folks. Oh, wow.
Control and micromanaging what you do with your time and the stuff you pay for. That's what DRM is to me.
That's well said, man.
And that's all this feels like.
Yeah, totally. Oh, man. Yeah. Anytime I hear digital rights management, I just roll my eyes. I'm like, oh, here we go. You're going to take away our rights of being able to, use our digital media the way we want to use it, yeah, it's frustrating.
The whole, I don't know. If I spend $80 on a damn game, let me do what I want. As long as I'm not, trying to make a profit and reselling your stuff and like ripping the files and then saying, hey, buy Mario Kart from me for $50. I should be able to do what I want with it. I get that. You know what I mean? It's still a business. I get that. But, I don't know. It's bothering me. Guys, as we start to wrap up here, again, thank you for tuning in. Be sure you are subscribed to Insider Gaming on YouTube.
Smash that like button if you're on YouTube.
That Absolutely. Too. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Blue Sky. Visit insider-gaming.com for all Nintendo Switch 2 coverage. We are having we had a little hiccup on the site earlier, but it came back strong. Our great dev team was made sure like things
guys just hammering away on the site, man.
And it's still going. You got you got Andy, you got Andy doing great work. You got Sanche doing great work. You got Scott doing great work on the Switch 2 coverage. Like they were there from the start of the Switch 2 event and before it and just going through. And you got Tom coming in with his exclusives and dropping these bombs whenever. Also, speaking of exclusives, if you want exclusive columns, exclusive tech reviews starting next week, I got some things dropping in there. The latest game release announcements, esports news, and more you need to know. Insider Gaming's weekly newsletter drops every Tuesday. Insider-gaming.com/subscribe. We are over 50,000 strong in subscribers. You don't want to miss it. Plus, we like to give little rewards, maybe giveaways here and there for our subscribers. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Insider-gaming.com/subscribe. AP, we talk about it all the time, but where can the people find you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You guys can find me right here on Insider Gaming, as I will be doing Insider today, every single day right here. And additionally, on my own personal YouTube channel, youtube.com/@weeklywrapup. Additionally, I'm over on X at the Weekly Wrap Up, over on Insta with the same handle as well, and Blue Sky at Albert Perkins.
And you can find me at Mike Straw Media on all social media platforms, all of them. except Threads. I mean, I'm on there, but I don't use it because they started nuking every time I would share an article. They'd be like, this goes against our spam policy. Yet you look and there's 40 other people doing the same damn thing. And it's
Like,
just, okay, thanks, jackasses. So I'm technically there. Maybe I'll go back. But for now, it's on the Twitter and the Blue Sky.
I don't even promote my Threads, but yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I never do. I never post. The only time I post is to tell people, hey, find me elsewhere
On
because
other platforms.
this place
Yeah.
ain't it. In the meantime, or until next time, we will be back with even more Switch 2 coverage and more on Insider Gaming Weekly this Friday. We record tomorrow. We are touring with the idea of bringing Insider Gaming weekly live each week. If you want to see that, let us know on social media your thoughts. There's a poll that was running too that seems to be 50-50 split on it, but we'll see. We'll see. We're toying with things. We're trying to figure out ways to bring you even more. But until next time, AP, you do it every week on the podcast. Take it away.
Absolutely. You know what it is, Mike. And guys, make sure you tune in later today on YouTube. I'll have a full recap of the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct right here on our YouTube channel for Insider Today. For Mike Straw, I am your host with the most A to the P, Albert Perkins, and we will see you on the inside.